Hello, hello, hello. It's me, Leica. Now, you may notice that the avatar of Surge in the corner is not lining up with what I'm saying. And that's because when I went to record this, I had this absolutely lovely experience of my mic having been disabled in the settings menu of OBS, and OBS failed to tell me this until I noticed it after I'd finished recording. So, yeah. My 2.5 hours of playing through The Surge 2, and my first impressions of that, are lost to time. And so I'm going to have to do an Undead Commentary instead. Which I did them in the past when I was using my old capture card, because sometimes it was just an absolute hassle to get live voice recordings alongside it. But this hasn't been an issue I've had to do for quite some time. So, yeah. Weird bit of an experience here, having to rewatch the video and give some commentary that's not aligning necessarily. I'm doing this literally right after I finished recording, so I'm hoping that for the most part I'll remember most of what I was saying and my general experiences. So whilst I won't have my genuine impressions expressed, you'll be able to get the vibe of them from me. This is immediately following after our Surge 1 playthrough, which I had my comments regarding it and how it had good systems in place, but execution wasn't the best, and that I'd heard a lot about the Surge 2 being significantly better, so fingers crossed that actually is the case. Spoilers, I have my first impressions of that already, but I'll leave you hanging a little bit on that front, so you get to see the things as I experience them. So,
what if machines were pure, a basic universal concept without morals or destiny?
And as I said, what machines basically already
because
are.
They are created by humans, inheriting all their countless imperfections. How could machines ever be better than us? Would they not, by design, follow the path of their creators, and in the end, fail?
And I think the point to take out of this is the grey goo is defeated not because we did anything, but it absorbed us, and we're pretty shit.
Please brace for impact.
This is also, I'm pretty sure, almost immediately after the Surge 1, timeline-wise. At least this cutscene. And I have a feeling that we did it successfully interfere, and that the ending I got is the canon one. I'd have to double check that probably, but yeah, it's carrying on straight where we left off. However, we have a character creator. We're not playing Warren anymore. So we have all of our various different starting options, which we cycle through eventually. I believe at this part I didn't actually start talking about that yet. What I was doing was giving a basic rundown for anybody who's watching this and hasn't seen the Surge 1, of the basic plot of what happened, which I'm going to go over again, and I will also say that I'll put up a timestamp for when I finish talking about it, so that if anyone for some reason is watching the Surge 2 happily but doesn't want spoilers for the Surge 1 for some reason, then they can skip ahead. So skip to this point if that's what you. Otherwise, let's discuss the basics of the Surge 1. Creo is an organization that makes a lot of tech to help humanity with like exosuits and automated drones and AI and stuff like that. However, climate crisis, big problem. So they start working on Project Resolve, which in short is shown in tests and whatnot to have long-term impact. Like many years in the future, that leaves the planet worse off than it currently is. So they decide to scrap it, but don't publicly announce that, and instead move on to Project Utopia, which has a 95% casualty rate. However, the remaining 5% will survive and flourish, and the main mechanism for that is with the it's transhumanism. It's attaching what the human brain into robotic suits. However, from what I can gather near the end game, that evolved into a Grey Goo scenario where the AI got a little bit too intelligent and began absorbing and digitizing the cells of nearby humans and absorbing it into its consciousness, which then became the final boss. And from that point, we went on to fight. The rocket got launched. We couldn't stop it from being set off, but we could corrupt the data on it somewhat, so it wasn't fully stable as it was meant to be. It was unclear. It ended on a cliffhanger very suddenly, and there wasn't a lot said by characters at that point because most people were dead. So yes, that was more or less the story of the Surge 1. And now here we are, the Surge 2, with a character creator. And I am not sure, based on what I'm watching, if I'd finished talking about the yet and had moved on to the descriptions of the characters, but I'm going to go with it from here anyway. So, in short, here we go, we're going through them. So yeah, the general covers roles, like you can change the appearance of everything. So these preset faces are just that, presets. So the first one is the Mining Wars veteran, or as I call it, the Scab, because you have PTSD and trauma from putting down a minor rebellion, and so you got a ticket to get a job in Jericho City. And then we have the search and rescue officer who worked in medicine. However, eventually you got replaced by robots with the automated AID system. I'm not sure what AID stands for yet. It's come up a fair few times. I'm sure I could probably find it in some document somewhere if I read through like my items. But I assume it's something like automated something. So that's the search and rescue option. We have the forklift operator, where you basically spent your life savings suing Creo for Creo doing Creo shit, and they gave you a first-class plane ticket to get a new job in Jericho. Then we have the field technician, which I can't read on the screen at the moment. So the robot repairer. But AI took your job. Very topical. The former arms smuggler, who's a very short story of, oh yeah, you've sold guns and you now want to get out of it. And then we have a middle manager, and nobody wants to be a middle manager. So, when search and rescue officer, at this point, I was getting a little bit worried from the random options of the hairstyles. And yeah, they're not great. There's a very small number of them, all very short, and they clearly didn't want to animate hair, which, fair enough, hair animations can get pretty juicy, but got some healthy collections of hair colors. I believe I go with the Auburn one. And yeah, then move on to skin, just slight bit of age. Accidentally cycled too far along, went right to the oldest age. But yeah, some minor wrinkles, nothing major. I am paler than this paler skin option, so pale it is. I am not a fan of big lips. I am going to get the smallest ones I possibly can, and then cheek structure and fullness is just tweaking it to get it a little bit more. Did I forget to do lips? Or did I just jump ahead to eyes? I think I might have just jumped ahead to eyes. So yeah, you got purple, which I'm very happy with. However, it was as I was looking at the eyes, I may have noticed that they're very lifeless and also very flat, if you look at the side. They are not as spherical as I would have expected, which is a little bit of a a distracting factor when in character creation, but fortunately once we get a helmet on, it's probably not going to be something we're going to be looking at, especially since we're going to be looking from behind most of the time. Oh, I think I might have just accidentally skipped lips. Okay, oh yeah, I skipped lips. I somehow managed to miss that during the initial character creation, but there is the mouth as well, so changed the mouth, but I could have probably got different lips. All of the outfits that were for the other characters are also available. I will say, however, that I quite like the search and rescue one. I do like the minor one as well, but not quite as much. And yeah, then we get a 2-month time skip.
Medical report TS1. Our new patient has been in a semi-delirious state for weeks. The subject seems to be reliving traumatic memories of Flight 221. A girl. Some sort of anomaly.
It's not over.
But this can't be true. There was only one survivor in the crash.
And that is the sign that we've probably been grey gooed. And now have an AI living inside of us.
Look out!
Especially with that.
It's gonna kill you!
So, it wasn't something that I noticed until later on, but the weapon that you start this game with are defibrillators. So it was very kind of the doctors to just leave 2 defibrillators right next to me as I wake up for self-defense purposes. But yeah, I just do a little bit of the usual button figuring out. We have our we still have our horizontal and vertical attacks, so rather than, you know, light and heavy. I wasn't able to dodge. I kept pressing circle and it kept saying I didn't have any batteries, so couldn't dodge, which was interesting. Then yeah, we get into combat. Immediately fuck up the block. I think it was less that I fucked up the block, and I tried dodging and then remembered I couldn't dodge. Have a lovely, lovely dark room. And fucking cyborg kaiju monsters, which is just metal as fuck. I absolutely love it. And yeah, I have woken up not in a medical facility as I initially thought, although I was in the medical wing, but a prison cell. And that raises some questions as to just why on earth I'm in a prison cell. So, accidentally fell down this hole. However, I'm pretty sure it was actually the way to go, so it worked out in the end. Love these guys just throwing bricks at me very, very rudely. And
fresh meat!
Me remembering that there is a separate button for toggling targets, as you have the body part targeting. Yeah, me just trying to rush to take down one guy and just get absolutely pelted by a rock whilst I'm not paying attention. And then my experience from the Surge 1 had me going for the arm, and it was only afterwards I realised I've not got an exosuit. I can't. Yeah, I can't actually break their arm off and take their weapon. I'm too weak. I'm too weak. Oh, at this point, I noticed that the left side of the screen is really, really empty. Like, that was where the health and stamina was in the Surge 1. And with it being empty, I just moved my figure over, so tech scrap and all that is uncovered. And once again, surprise, surprise, still too weak to open the door to get old Benjamin out.
God you're back. Please tell me you found a rig.
So, no rig yet, but obviously all the signs are pointing to getting one shortly. So, we press on, find ourselves at the first aid station, and I think it was at... Oh no, yeah, so the... Yeah, there's no subtitles for the over radio chatter, so I was trying to figure out if the subtitles were just not working properly. So yeah, we make it into the armory, and unfortunately, it looks like we've been beaten there by one of the other prisoners. We're going to have ourselves a little fight with Nitro, who has a very heavy weapon indeed. So, got a little bit too punch happy early on, and almost got myself killed. So, gonna have to do the last bit a lot more carefully. Still trying to dodge and not being able to dodge. Oh yeah, it said not currently available, not that it uses batteries.
Welcome, Officer Johnson.
Yeah, we got the key card and done a little bit of identity fraud to get ourselves
installation in progress.
Healed up and got a rig. And oh, I didn't realise that it had captured my achievements. Yeah, usually it didn't show, or at least I was pretty sure I had it, so it didn't show Steam overlays, but maybe given that it muted my mic, I might have to just go through the settings again and see if something's capturing them again. But either way, yeah, get to see the achievements as I get them. And here we go, we get to, as I put it, problem number 1 with the Surge 2 fixed. Leveling up gives you module points, as well as core power. So you have your core power consumption for the purposes of mods, or implants, sorry. But you also now have module points for upping your base stats. So, in the Surge 1, they also came from implants. So you ended up with this really awkward bit in the late game, and where you either had really low stats, because you had all of your other mods in, or you had very few mod slots because you'd had to invest all of your mod slots into stats. And honestly, not that great.
Complete.
This system, much, much better. So yeah, the other thing here that we get a pop-up for is something new. So the healing item that we've got now is one that I used a lot in the late game of the Surge at 1. That is now just the standard one you start with. However, the interesting thing that they've done differently is when you have energy, so there's the bars, each time you get past one of those bar points, it becomes a battery, and it can be used for energy skills, but you can bank them now. If you've got the energy there, you can hold down the button and stick them in to use at a later point. So you're not wasting energy as much if you've got that equipped, or in this instance it's the only one we've got equipped, only one available to us. So, yeah, it's a nice improvement.
Have a nice day, officer.
Now, you might have also noticed that still not dodging, still just walking around, and you may have also noticed that the heal appears to be on circle, which is the button that I said was dodge, because in the last game it was dodge. And I am very shortly going to notice, after trying out the spear for a bit, because I am a big fan of spears, also remembering that charge attacks exist and noticing that there is a point. It visually shows when you've reached the charge point for it to be considered a charge attack, and that, as I did some testing here, if you start charging but release it earlier than the flash, it still does the regular attack. So, all very interesting stuff. We have a name now for the Grey Goo virus, which is defrag. Guess what I'm probably not going to be doing. So yeah, we're now supercharged, so we can open these doors. Good old exosuit stuff. And yeah, I immediately fell in love with the spear as soon as I did that spinny spin attack.
I'd love to repay you.
And as you can see from the achievement, Don't I Know You? Is the moment where, like, I didn't recognize this guy, and genuinely still not 100% sure who he is. However, I do have an inkling, so minor spoilers for the Search one, but I believe he was one of the guys we met in research and development who was looking for, I believe, his daughter. I never found her. I didn't complete his quest line, so no idea what actually was going on there. But he did make it out. But obviously everyone's trying to keep a lid on what happened, so he's been locked up, accused of being a criminal, and is just locked away. And they said the word, it's the Surge.
And the whole damn factory tore itself apart. I lost my whole team in there. Even Smithy. But this time, I swear I'll keep people safe. Something like a pop. No, damn it, I'm not okay. Haven't been okay in
it's such just a funny moment to go, like, you know, oh yeah, you've been accused of crimes that you've not actually committed, being locked up in jail for 2 weeks after going through the entire ordeal at Creo, and now absolute anarchy is broken out outside because of the Grey Goo. And someone just comes in, gets all of these answers from you, and then says, "Are you okay?" Alright, so yeah, we got a little keycard from him. I tried equipping the arm gear, and then remembered that it's blueprints. I still got to actually craft them. So, nothing there. Oh, and I also noticed that there's loadouts. You can switch between multiple loadouts now, which is a nice quality of life feature, so you can have multiple builds ready to go. And as mentioned here, all of the implants now are able to be switched at any time. There's no more hardwired implants that required the medbay to change. So it is now just a matter of switching them out and in as needed. Which, once again, a very nice quality of life improvement. I think this is one that honestly didn't necessarily need to change, but it's a welcome change regardless. Yeah, and I then just checked out what I already had. See that I've got the... Oh yeah, that was the other thing is... yeah, these consumable ones are no longer... So previously, you'd find multiple levels of them. In this game, you upgrade them like weapons and armor. They have their own material, which... yeah, which is used for it. And here, I found the dodge button is now X. I finally figured out that it wasn't that I couldn't dodge, it's that, because it was at this point, it's like, oh, hang on a second, circle is used for healing. Which means that it can't be the dodge button. So I started pressing the other buttons, and found the dodge button on X. So, oops. So I did some quick rebindings. There's a lot of control changes from the Surge 1. Well, not major ones, there's just like a few things. So, interact was set to square, sprint was circle initially, and this might have been the defaults, and I just found a different one that had the dodge on circle in the control schemes that I was using. But regardless, I just did a little bit of switching around to make it more familiar. In short, I want to dodge on circle. So, interact is X. In fact, yeah, no, interact was X on the Surge 1 as well. So, it's basically Surge 1 controls. And then, same with the cycling. I'm pretty sure cycling weapons and... Oops, forgot to mute my phone. Yeah, pretty sure that the inputs were up for switching through weapons. Sorry, up for switching through drone modules, down for switching weapons, and left for turning on lights, and then right for consumables. I might have misremembered it slightly, but either way, it's what I'm going with. It's all well and good. So, that's that. We now have the ability to go through here. We get ourselves an audio log. We don't get ourselves an audio log. I checked around the corner to see if there was anything there first. And we immediately encounter a leather locked door.
Yeah. The number gave it away. And they offered you the job. Sorry. I wanted to tell you at the right time. The right time? Open your eyes, Garcia. There's never gonna be a right time. Not anymore. It's not gonna change anything between... I know, that's not what this is about, okay? Just take care, okay? This thing is dangerous. I'm sorry. So am I. We'll talk, okay?
So yes, we've got ourselves a rig, but to get through the other part of the door down there, we need access to a drone. A drone that can then overcharge the entrance. The guard's not letting us out. They've locked the doors. Understandable. This is, after all, a prison. We got our first mod, which... so, yeah, this was another thing that was in the first game, but basically I never ended up using, outside of the tutorial where it taught me it. There's directional blocking. But with this module, it actually shows them on screen, which makes it a lot clearer both when an enemy is attacking and the direction to actually use that. so it's become significantly more useful. And whilst I could probably learn them and not need the module, at the moment it's early game, so not many options. It's a good learning tool, and it makes it a lot more useful than and likely to be used than it was in the first game. Lighting goes down, something bad is going on, but I can't really see. I get caught up with this because it's Creo Flight 221 evidence. Oh, it's all of this stuff. The chassis. I see what it's saying. It's a label for the stuff that's around here, but it's all just debris, effectively. I was getting annoyed because it's like, oh, you say there's evidence, but I can't read the evidence, and it's because it's physical evidence, not a written, like, summary of what the evidence is. I saw a pop-up there about android body parts that past me was clearly not eager to read, and that annoys me because I kind of want to read that now. And yeah, there we go, directional parry. And some really sweet-ass execution animations. I love them. They're absolutely glorious. And I admitted this, and this with this weapon here that I'm using now is basically the moveset that the Surge 1, that I went through the Surge 1 using predominantly. A slow, heavy weapon, and this is still significantly faster than the previous game's heavy weapons. But I didn't experiment much with the super fast weapons, and yeah, there's the kaiju just banging at the door. I tried to get through and hope that was a shortcut, but alas, it seems like opening that door would be a bad idea. But fortunately, we have an info card telling us find shortcuts. So I wonder if this is a shortcut. It's a mystery. And now that the monster's moved on, let's go and collect the item here, which is just some more scrap. So we have the path forward there. However, I think I go back and spend my scrap first for a level up. I'm aware that I need to use one of these to be able to. Oh, no wait, I was, yeah, I think I was trying to see if there was a place to see how much was required to level up, so I wouldn't have to. But there, yeah, no luck there. However, as I think at about this point I noticed, you do see that disassemble scrap. Yeah, right there. The disassemble scrap up there. So you can just bank what you've already got picked up without having to go into the menu. The downside is it does scrap all of it, so if you want... But then at the same time you can bank it, so it's not like a major issue. But yeah, I have been going through all of the weapons as I've gone along, because whilst last time there was a very clear, oh, here's the heavy build and here's the light build at the start of the game, this has been a lot more freeform, and I don't think I wanted to play through with the exact same strength build that I did in the first game. Also, there's going to be a little skip here because I accidentally showed the profile of the person who put down this tag. I was trying to figure out what on earth it was and struggling with this door. And just... yeah, there are multiplayer features in the Surge 2. I'm not completely sure how far they go, and whether there's like PvP or anything like that. But it's all been what's the word? I think I've forgotten the word, but it's like the interconnected world where you have these graffiti tags that people can put down and people can rate like messages, as well as something called banners, which can be picked up to get a little bit of scrap, and finally like revenge targets for enemies that have killed other players, stuff like that. it's all very straightforward stuff. Or at least so far. That doesn't have any direct player engagement, but has that Dark Souls community feel. And whomp! Does this thing do a lot of damage after a parry. And it's very satisfying to just go smack. So, without being able to get through that door, I did a little bit of backtracking as well as trying to figure out where to go. Since all of that seemed pretty closed off, I thought maybe there was something else that had opened up. I found this locker, and hey, it's another weapon. We got ourselves a sword. And then, do I notice it here? The button on the wall. I go through the log. I find these. I think I was trying to check the quest items to see if they gave me any sense of direction. This key card I think is just based on your character. I think it's like the tag that's used for what starting class you had for dialogue options and such. Then we had the Johnson key card for getting our exosuit. And then finally, Benjamin's card, which is why we were able to open that locker. So, hooray for reading. So, I figure that it must be something up that pathway, because there's no way that would just be a dead end. And what do you know? There's a button that I fucking missed. And the cool music starts playing. We get a sprint in. We get ourselves a new implant, which I equip and then read. And this is a pretty useful one. So if a charge were to deplete and you've got some charge slots left, it just converts it automatically to health. And here we go. We see someone using the tag system in a way that actually warrants me giving it an upvote, to basically say, look out, enemy, rather than just, I don't know, some seatbelts on a wall or a screw. And I get a close-up of it. I've already forgotten the name that they're calling them in this, but I'm going to just keep calling them the grey goo enemies. Have our first proper boss fight, I'd say, rather than the intro boss fight. And god damn it, is Warden Garcia cool. Also, I've just realised that he was the one that was in the audio log, so it makes sense. I get very close to dying a couple of times here, and it's at this point that I notice that there is a delay before the heal goes off, which there was a little bit of one in the Surge one, but nowhere near as noticeable as this. It's reasonable, I think it's fine, it's a nice design idea. It does feel a lot more like it's being injected into you and then healing you up. Yeah. We then get involved in the fight proper. And it's just, they do so many cool things. So they have their drone, which requires us to constantly stay on the move, and you just have the roof falling down around us as the battle goes on. So they've got their primary arm weapon, which has some pretty standard strikes, all things considered. It's one of the weapons used, but it just combos nicely into their use of the grenades with the napalm, and just firebombing the floor, giving that element of crowd control. Here I am, right on the edge of my seat, low health, just one hit off of getting enough to heal. Garcia just jumping in, constantly keeping the pressure up. If I start attacking too heavily, backs off, throws some explosives to give himself some space. And the music is an absolute bop as well, let's not forget that. Get a parry off, get some nice damage in. Nearing the end here. Finally remembering to actually use my energy to charge heals. And yeah, that backflip into explosives as well is so cool. And we're done. And we cut off the arm, so should take that weapon with us. We got an extra achievement for receiving a special reward. So that was something that was in the Surge one as well, where each boss had a weapon that they drop, but a special condition that was considered harder that you'd get if you successfully did it. And there was only one human boss, I believe, in the first game as well. And that one, the condition was cut off the arm with the weapon in, basically. So you'd get the weapon anyway, but you'd get a weaker version if you didn't cut off the arm for the weapon. And now we get access to the drone, which as a default has a gun. And I noticed the aid return home one, but from the description and how it reads, it's basically the dark sign. You don't want to use it, but it's an option that exists. So, going through my weapons, realizing that I've got all of them favorited, and then going, you know what, why not have all of them favorited? I'm still trying to figure out which weapons I want to use. Oh, the X is going to be for one of these screens. Yeah, I saw an X pop up, and then I couldn't get the X to pop back up, and it was just really annoying me trying to find out how I pulled it up. But regardless, we're done with our first boss, and it was a more enjoyable boss than any of the bosses from the Surge one. So I'm sure you're starting to get the idea here that I might just be enjoying this a little bit more than the first game.
Nobody's gonna piss on our parade.
So slight spoilers for ahead, but I end up on the other side of that door later on than when Past Me was recording this. So whilst here I'm going on about, oh, that's a really British guy on the other side there, I'm just going, oh, hang on a second, that actually matches up with the other guy I saw on the other side. So I saw that mesh light stuff, and here we go. I finally found this panel to open that door, which just lets me walk around to the top level again. So whilst I don't need to, I do want to give this weapon a little bit of a test run, as well as the drone, which rather than in the previous game, which had it use energy for every time you activated it, in this game pressing it calls out the drone, and then pressing it again activates the drone. And the drone has its own ammunition, as you can see in the left corner, or to the side of my health and stamina and all that. And yeah, so managed to get back up here, and then immediately go, okay, what actually is up here? Well, this exit was closed anyway. These animations are absolutely gorgeous. I love them. I love them to bits. So yeah, nothing new found here. However, I did notice that there was stuff on the other side. It did look like there was a way through, so I was trying to see if there was something here, and what a surprise, there's another item. So, looking around to try and figure it out, and see someone who's put a very helpful icon for jumping, which I didn't really... It might have actually been a dev tag, because I didn't see the pop-up for usual tags there. But either way, very useful. I'm pretty sure I could have made it across, but I was slightly off angle, so landed here, and just had a little game of getting bricked. I went to test this with the drone, but yeah, I don't have the EMP-44 Starfish mod, so whereas before the drone could just hack into some things immediately and then required an upgrade for others, now it's just straight up says when you need a thing. So did a little bit of testing with a gun. It was pretty satisfying, and by being on a different material to energy, I wouldn't run into the same problems as with the first game, where I basically stopped using the drone once I stopped using the suit. That reduced the cost of drone actions, because I was using it for things like healing and executions, so I just didn't have the energy to use the drone and then build it up enough for fighting. Even though at that time I had like one of the highest energy gain weapons in the game, at least in terms of the raw stats. Because they were slow, it's obviously the balancing thing. I'm getting more energy per hit because I'm doing less hits. So with our tech scrap, we go to upgrade, and something I forgot to mention during the initial upgrade, where it then tells you out the exosuit. So previously in the Surge one, right at the start, you get a really, really painful surgery because you're not put under anesthetic, to put the implants into your brain and attach the exosuit to your skeleton. There was an announcement that mentioned how defrag, that was it, they're called defrag. But yes, there was an announcement on how it's attached, it's no longer attached through that surgery. It's essentially just melding directly to your DNA, and if that doesn't scream we're actually still trying to use the grey goo, then I don't think anything will. So here we go. I go, oh wait, I've got all my weapons favorited, and then went, actually, let's just favorite them all again. So yeah, switching through them all so that I can give them all a try. I think the sword's the only one I've not tried out too much. The spear was definitely my favorite at this point, and I was expecting that to take me to the next area.
Can I get my toy, please?
But
oh, right.
it
Sorry.
wasn't.
I'm Athena Gutenberg.
And Gutenberg, not Athena, but Gutenberg was also in the Surge one as the CEO of Creo.
By the plane.
Oh, I just realised. No, that's me jumping ahead again. I'm gonna hold back on saying that until we actually get further ahead. That's definitely the worst bit about doing these undead commentaries, is because I'm not directly playing, I don't have the same sort of feedback responses. I found ammo. I got all the ammo. We're loading up this gun, boys, girls, NBs. And yeah, it's just that awkward bit of having to talk about the game as you're going through it, going over the thoughts that I had, but in a less organic manner, and then also every now and then having something pop up that makes me go, oh yeah, that reminds me of something that happened later.
My name is Brother Truman. I'm waiting outside. Take care of those guys, and I'll turn on the lift. Well done. The lift should work again.
Yeah, noticing this sticker about, not going back from the looks of things, but it looks like you can jump down there. You probably can, and I recognize that path as the one that we came up to get to the security room. So I didn't really feel a need to test that out. I did, however, notice some more ammo and decided to make sure none got left behind. So yeah. Also, the exolifts have been replaced with magnolifts. which don't... Oh, sorry, magnetic lifts. Which, yeah, don't require you to wait. So, hooray! It's also just conceptually a lot cooler. Just this idea that we, using exosuits, now have so much metal on us that we can literally just use magnets to propel us up and down. And I think about here is where we're wrapping up. At least for this part.